Welcome to UND Insider Weekly, alongside Brad Schlossman and Tom Miller from the Grand Forks Herald and Paul Ralston from UND Athletics. I'm Tim Hennessy. Gentlemen, this week we're going to talk about, a little bit later on, about the Potato Bowl coming up at the Alaris Center at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock start for the Potato Bowl with Robert Morris. But let's start talking about UND football. We'll get into some soccer, we'll get into some volleyball, as all those teams are really in action now and have some heavy matches coming up. Let's talk about that football game in San Jose. First of all, Paul, you certainly were there on the sidelines. I think we've talked a little bit before this about that and a different feel maybe on the sideline in UND football this year, which is, I think, something Coach Bubba Schweiger was hoping for.
I think the vibe on the sideline was very positive despite the scoreboard or the result. They weren't really focused on that. They were really focused play to play. They felt they won some battles on certain plays. They lost some, obviously, to the skill that San Jose State had at times on the field. But by and large, everybody had bought in and was really, there for their teammates, and everybody was engaged for what seemed to be the entire game, no matter what the result was. And I think that's what the fan base has been calling for. At the very least, they want accountability and they want everybody engaged.
I still think it's going to be an uphill battle, and it's not all going to happen in one day, right, Tom? Or Brad?
Well, I mean, I think it kind of reminds me of the women's hockey situation when Brian Idalski took over, too. It's not going to happen in one day as much as everyone wants it to happen right away, as much as everyone wants the skill to be there and everything. But you have to start somewhere, and like Paul was talking about, the culture is where it starts, and you need building blocks. And the first season, the women's hockey program didn't win many games when Brian was there, but they started the building blocks for what it's become now. And that's what the football team definitely needs to do. As much as they want to instantaneously make the playoffs, realistically, it's probably not going to happen.
Well, the circumstances, were kind of built against UND there. You take 26 first-time UND football players, 10 true freshmen, out to an FBS opponent. There were going to be some growing pains. I think we still don't know exactly what kind of success this team can have, but I think we'll find out a lot more this weekend.
Yeah, you had some kids that were in last year were playing in Nevis, Minnesota for crying out loud, and playing in places like that, and all of a sudden they're on the big stage at San Jose. I think the one thing that people are, well, you tell me because you were there, we think the North Dakota up front, or 22 players deep, let's say, can probably play with most. It was a depth that we certainly see that there's a dearth of depth so far.
I think that's part of it. When I look at that game, there's just a couple of things that stand out. Number one, they're going to play a lot of players on defense. That depth is going to get there, and I think that goes to your question. Number two, offensively, I think that's probably where you notice a little bit more where maybe there's a lack of depth. Obviously, not having the perimeter weapons that have been here in recent years makes that offense a little different to look at, and of course they're changing the philosophies about kind of how they're going to go about things on offense. So it's kind of wait and see approach. That game they ended up a lot of third and longs. That's tough when you're a team that now wants to pound it and get into third and manageable situations. It didn't happen that night, and but by and large, depth I think is a big part of it. But I think there's just other things too, just the sharpness where you talk about picking up 3 or 4 yards on first and second down, giving yourself the third and manageable. That not only helps the offense, but it helps the defense too in the long run throughout a game.
Well, as a skill level there, I mean, they don't have a Kenny Galladay or a Jameer Jackson or a Greg Harden or a Weston Dressler at the receiving core. They don't have a Ryan Chappell at a running back. They don't have the super elite skill at those positions right now either, I don't think.
Well, I don't think we know yet. Brandon Walker and Dev Ferguson played as true freshmen. We got a little taste of what Cedric Simmons can do at running back. And like I mentioned earlier, with learning more against Robert Morris, I'm interested to see how these guys, what changes from week 1 to week 2 against a different opponent, and especially in the passing game when a lot of that is timing. It'll be interesting to see what wide receivers emerge because there's a lot of new positions open, like Brad said.
Did Joe Moberg hurt himself or help himself?
The 2 turnovers were essentially on him. The interception, I'm sure he would like to have back, and that's, that Bubba talked a lot about that at yesterday's presser. So.
I thought R.J. McGill said something in the press conference as well that was very interesting. He said, it's very common where you see the biggest jump is from week 1 to week 2 with the football team. And so the game ahead is probably going to be the one to watch.
Good
I
idea.
thought Moberg helped himself too.
Yeah.
The way he moved, the way he ran the ball, He didn't take sacks, which was a problem in past years. What was he, sacked one time maybe?
He was 14 to 20 too.
Is that a competition still? I mean, because a guy can get into a comfortable situation. I don't think it's bad to be comfortable at the quarterback situation, or if you've got someone breathing down your neck all the time, is that still a battle?
I think maybe the fact that they're able to let him loose and utilize his athleticism in the run game, maybe says something about how they feel about Ryan Bartles and the possibility of Joe going down with an injury. But I don't think if Joe's healthy, there's a battle right now.
And on the other hand, I don't know if they want to go through what they did last year where they switched quarterbacks every game.
Good point. Let's talk about volleyball a little bit, because they'll be at home this weekend against South Dakota in Tulane after coming off a trip to D.C. and losing 2 out of 3 matches out there. Good start for them. Obviously, you want to be 3-0, but good start to be 1-2.
I was impressed with the way that they competed against an Auburn. I thought that if you look at the box score, if you didn't have a chance to see any video or live stats during the match, I thought that they accounted for themselves pretty well in that match despite a loss. Obviously, against the host school, it looks like George Washington's going to have a pretty darn good year in their conference. I still think the pieces are coming together. We saw in the green and white night scrimmage that Coach Pryor had sat some players because they've been battling some different injuries and things in the preseason. Anna Piaski, who had an outstanding freshman season, has been kind of in and out of practices. They kind of had some nagging things going on. We saw her show up a little bit, and certainly, Lexi Robinson had some very nice games as well. So I think it's just kind of getting them into their season, trying to. I think the approach is very similar to what it's been in recent years. It's kind of building up towards that conference season.
They have played really difficult schedules before the Big Sky the past few years too, and it seemed to help.
And going into that game, they weren't quite sure if Faith Dooley and Anna Piaski were going to play, and they did in that tournament. So that's they got to be happy to have them in the mix.
Well, they had Munkeby last year. She was the star. Is Lexi Robinson that gal this year? Or?
I think Lexi's a little different player. Obviously, she can play some back row for you because she's a very good athlete, and then she's an outside hitter. I think really kind of the thing I'm watching right now is middles, like Chelsea Mosier. How is she acclimating herself to being kind of one of the counted upon players in the middle of the court there? And I think she's evolving nicely. I saw her in the green and white game, and she looks, more mature and ready to accept that role. So I think that's going to be kind of the place to watch with volleyball this year.
And I can't talk about any of their new players because I can't pronounce any of their names. Paul might be better at that than I am right now.
We're going to hear from Matt Kellogg, the soccer coach, a little bit later on. But they're not a slow start for the soccer team. I think maybe a little disappointing, not just the record of one win or the win over Chicago State, but offensively, right now they look challenged. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think they've only scored in one of their games so far. Probably the encouraging part for them is a couple freshmen got on the board against Chicago State, and they'll obviously want to build from that and get more scoring from some of their younger players.
Yeah, younger players take time to, as you know, in hockey, it's not always there. They maybe have to be good scorers in club soccer or club, in junior hockey or whatever, but it just takes some time to acclimate to that speed of the game and that polished be polished in front of the net area.
It's the old, it doesn't get any easier for them either.
No, they got a tough schedule.
Schedule's not easy. Well, coming up, get your French fries ready, folks. We're going to preview this weekend's Potato Bowl. That's next.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Cities Area Transit. We go where you go.
Did you know that riding the city bus is free for UND and Northland students?
I ride the bus so I don't have to find a parking spot, and then I'm always within an easy walking distance to all of my classes.
I'm going green, so I ride my bike everywhere. But when the weather turns bad, I take the bus. And why not? It's free.
Cities Area Transit. Enjoy the ride.
New head coach Bubba Schweigert and North Dakota football take on Robert Morris in the 49th Annual Potato Bowl, Saturday, September 6th at 6 p.m. in the Alaris Center. Get your tickets today at the Alaris Center box office or UNDsports.com.
Inside these lines, nobody hits harder. Nobody digs faster. Nobody plays stronger. Inside these lines, we defend our Big Sky Championship.
Watch North Dakota Volleyball begin its title defense against Tulane and South Dakota September 5th and 6th, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Join North Dakota Volleyball at the UND Volleyball Classic.
We play to win, but it's bigger than winning. It's about authenticity, being true to yourself, genuine dreams and a country big enough to fit them, values and hard work, giving your best and giving back, working together, building a tradition bigger than any one of us, and showing the world every day who we are and how we play. We're Big Sky. We are the heart of the American West.
Attention kids 8th grade and younger. You can now register to be a North Dakota Junior Champion for free. That's right, get a free membership to the official kids club of UND Athletics just by registering in person at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley. Membership includes a Junior Champions t-shirt, free admission to over 60 UND home games, exclusive Junior Champions events, and more. Sign up today for free at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley and be a North Dakota Junior Champion.
This weekend, UND football opens up its home schedule. It welcomes Robert Morris for the 49th Annual Potato Bowl. Game kicks off at 6 o'clock Saturday. Get your tickets at the Alaris Center box office or online at UNDsports.com. Robert Morris off a loss to Eastern Kentucky guys, and they're usually a pretty good program. I think they're picked high in their conference, the Ohio Valley, and I don't know what to expect from Robert Morris. Anybody have any ideas here?
I think, you know, looking at their stat sheet, it was a very bizarre kind of box score. They got 4 turnovers against Eastern Kentucky, and still ended up losing pretty handily. They gave up 400 yards rushing, and they only rushed for, I want to say, 28 yards. So they definitely lost the ground battle, and that's going to be something I got to imagine UND is going to hope to take advantage of, because UND didn't run the ball super effectively against San Jose, but I thought there were some creases that you haven't seen in the recent years here against FBS opponents.
You know, I look at Robert Morris, and you know, probably they have some young guys that they're probably trying to see how they all fit in, you know, as far as the pieces are concerned coming into this game themselves. And you know, I guess I will go back to what Coach Schweigert has been preaching. You know, maybe sometimes it seems like we're getting inundated with, you know, the phrase of they're focusing on themselves, but I think this weekend is probably going to be a perfect example of UND football really focusing on the things that they do. I know they talked a lot about here after the game out in San Jose State about pursuit to the ball defensively, you know, not necessarily being out of the play. Maybe it's by you, but you go chase it down. And they really took a look at that on film, and they feel like they can be more effective in that area. So watch the little things, I think, on Saturday here against the Colonials, because I think that's going to be very interesting for fans to watch, like how the little things, you know, go here for UND coming up on Saturday.
Well, I think the fans are going to expect, I mean, this is a team they can play with. This is a team, in fact, maybe on paper or somewhere they'd be a favorite over Robert Morris this weekend. How critical is it for them to beat them at this point, and particularly for the fans, and not only that, for the psyche of the players?
Well, it's this little stretch before they start a very difficult span of games when they face Montana, Montana State, Eastern Washington, Southern Utah. This stretch of Robert Morris, Missouri State, and Stony Brook, none of those teams are going to be easy on UND because they're just not in a state where they can have things come easy to them. But I think it's an important stretch to be successful.
Build some confidence. You know, you don't want to go into that stretch having lost, you know, 4 games in a row or anything, and then seeing you're playing the best teams. That can derail things really quickly. But if you do get some confidence and some of the young players figure some things out, maybe their development can accelerate a little bit. So I think it is important.
And I think this is a team too that I think it's one thing. I think you temper expectations and you say it's not all about wins and losses during this process that Coach Schweigert has come in to do. But at the same time, there are still very capable athletes on the field for North Dakota that can go out and get you wins. And this would be a big one here on Saturday, and maybe that propels and everybody starts believing a little bit, and maybe you get going on the right track the way they want to.
Maybe falls right into what Bubba's been talking about, is doing the little things correctly all along. And you do the little things against this team and an opponent like this, and you're probably going to have some success, I would guess. We heard it once already this week, and you guys tell me what you think quickly here. It's Potato Bowl week, and well, you know, there's a lot of distractions with the French fry feed and all this kind of stuff. These guys are 18 to 23-year-old athletes, for crying out loud. Are they going to get distracted by a French fry feed? Come on, huh?
I do. You expect me to work during that? I'm going to be out there. But they might not like French fries as much as I do. So
can it be a distraction? I just don't see it would be.
No, I think if I had to look back at college, I think I had a lot of other distractions other than French fries.
I think that one is overplayed a little bit, Tim. I think we're past that point. But I do encourage everyone to go out and eat a few French fries. Have a good time on Thursday.
I will.
Still to come before they head out on the road again. Head soccer coach Matt Kellogg will join us in the Coach's Corner.
North Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
Attention kids 8th grade and younger. You can now register to be a North Dakota Junior Champion for free. That's right, get a free membership to the official kids club of UND Athletics just by registering in person at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley. Membership includes a Junior Champions t-shirt, free admission to over 60 UND home games, exclusive Junior Champions events, and more. Sign up today for free at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley and be a North Dakota Junior Champion.
We play to win, but it's bigger than winning. It's about authenticity, being true to yourself, genuine dreams and a country big enough to fit them, values and hard work, giving your best and giving back, working together, building a tradition bigger than any one of us, and showing the world every day who we are and how we play. We're Big Sky. We are the heart of the American West.
Cities Area Transit. We go where you go.
Did you know that riding the city bus is free for UND and Northland students?
I ride the bus so I don't have to find a parking spot, and then I'm always within an easy walking distance to all of my classes.
I'm going green, so I ride my bike everywhere. But when the weather turns bad, I take the bus. And why not? It's free.
Cities Area Transit. Enjoy the ride.
I got my first hunting dog when I was 17. My passion for pheasant hunting has taken off ever since. One thing I really enjoy about pheasant hunting is it's an active sport. If you're serious about pheasant hunting, you're going to be out there working for the birds. The gear that's available today is going to make your hunt just that much more enjoyable. Watching my own dog work, being out there with my friends, congratulating a buddy on a good shot, those are all things that I really like about upland hunting. I'm Judd Geese, and I'm an upland hunting expert at Shields.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields and Grand Forks Cities Area Transit.
Fresh off a split on the road and before they head back out on the road, Soccer Zone head coach Matt Kellogg joins us in the Coach's Corner. Matt, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
How's that schedule treating you already?
We're
not getting any better, is it?
No, we're headed to Nebraska, who they're a top 20 team in the country. But it's going to be a great learning experience for our young team. You know, we came off our first road trip of the season. A lot of young players got a lot of valuable minutes and experience. And, this was also our first Friday-Sunday series because if you recall, our game against South Dakota State got canceled. Mm-hmm. And it's a tough turnaround playing Friday, one-day rest, and then get back at it on Sunday. So we learned a lot on Sunday in Green Bay.
Because the opening at the game at Chicago State, though, obviously a big plus for your team and a 3-0 win and young people scoring for you.
Yeah, it's always exciting to get that first W of the season, and especially getting young players on the score sheet. That's huge for us.
You mentioned it is something to be learned when you're relying on so many young players. How do they have it gets to taking care of the body and making sure it's ready to go in short turnaround, short order, and how you eat nutritionally. I mean, it's not just readying yourself for that next road game on a short turnaround. There's so many things that go into it, isn't it?
Yeah, just, this is probably their first extended experience in a hotel. Mm-hmm. Just how do you sleep in a hotel? It's not your bed. There's just a lot of things that you got to get used to. And like you said, Paul, the key isn't Sunday. The key is actually Saturday, your off day. How are you taking care of your body? Balancing the homework, all those things. That's a skill in itself. It's not just, can you pass and trap? It's can you deal with everything else that's going on in the season.
Did you think that played a factor at all in Green Bay, or was it just they're that much better?
Well, you got to tip your hat to Green Bay. They're a good team. I think they're going to get a lot of W's this year. But I do think part of it was the travel, the long trip for our young players. Again, we didn't start that many, but the ones we did start, 2 center backs, Emily Smithson and Liz McDowell. That's a very important position in our field and the way we play. And to have 2 freshmen playing there, you're going to have games like this where the first half they're just kind of almost shell-shocked. But we talked about it at halftime. This is going to kind of define our season. Are we the team that just throws in the towel and gives up? It's already 4-0, who cares? Or are we the team that continues to fight and try to implement our style? And I think we did that in the second half. So very proud of the young ladies to come back and answer that call like they did.
When you talk about scoring, obviously had some goals that go in for you against Chicago State. It's not always about a young scorer and them getting the goals. It's getting the ball to them in positions where they can score. Is that maybe part of it too? Is just getting the ball through the midfield area and getting them in a position to score at times? Where do you think sometimes where the lack of goals are? Where do you think the challenge is?
Yeah, Paul, you're exactly right. It's not just about can you actually put it in the net, but can you get it to the person that needs to put it in the net? That's half the battle. And our focus so far in preseason and early regular season has been a lot of our team defensive shape. We switched our system from a 4-4-2 to a 4-5-1. We have a lot of players playing in different positions in different ways that they haven't played before. We have Jessica Johnson, who redshirted last year and really didn't play a lot in her true freshman year. Now she's a starter for us. And so it's going to take some time for us to get all those parts and pieces on the same page. We don't have the luxury of some other sports where you can call a timeout or coaches send in, a certain play. It's you got to be able to read it and adapt and react in the moment.
Matt, good luck against the big red machine down there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being with us today. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Matt Kellogg is a soccer coach at UND. And coming up, this panel gets to divulge their innermost desires as they tell us what they're looking forward to. That's next.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields and Grand Forks Cities Area Transit.
New head coach Bubba Schweigert and North Dakota football take on Robert Morris in the 49th Annual Potato Bowl, Saturday, September 6th at 6 p.m. in the Alaris Center. Get your tickets today at the Alaris Center box office or UNDsports.com.
Inside these lines, nobody hits harder. Nobody digs faster. Nobody plays stronger. Inside these lines, we defend our Big Sky Championship.
Watch North Dakota Volleyball begin its title defense against Tulane and South Dakota September 5th and 6th, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Join North Dakota Volleyball at the UND Volleyball Classic.
Life is busy, but many professionals are finding ways to advance their career with a Master's in Business Administration at the University of North Dakota. Students attend UND online and on campus. The program is nationally recognized and emphasizes one-on-one with faculty. Find the title you deserve. Enroll today.
Welcome back to Insider Weekly. And what are we looking forward to this week, guys? Your innermost desires. I see Brad doesn't have his little Bo Peep costume anywhere there, so we'll talk about something else. What are you looking forward to, Paul?
Well, let's talk about volleyball.
There you go.
They're at home. You know, I look at it from the standpoint of you get a couple of games each day, Friday and Saturday. You got the banner raising ceremony on Friday night before South Dakota match. So It's going to be a lot of fun for the fans on Friday of Potato Bowl week. You get Tulane, that 11 a.m. game in the morning on Friday. South Dakota on Friday night, and then 2 again on Saturday. We'll see what they do when they're at home in front of the home fans. I think it's going to be a good weekend and an interesting weekend to see how this Coach Pryor team kind of evolves and takes their next step after a tough weekend on the road.
Brad?
I'm interested to see who the men's and women's tennis team is going to hire as an assistant coach. Tanya Gambara's gone to Northern Illinois to be the head coach over there.
I'll say, you know, the Bubba Schweigert era opens up in Grand Forks. Can they run the football against a team that struggled to stop the run last week? I'm sorry. And according to the great football notes from Ryan Powell of UND, UND hasn't lost a home opener since 1986. So.
All right, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. And remember to join us next week for a brand new Insider Weekly. The episode premieres next Wednesday at 8 p.m. on UNDsports.com, also Friday at 5 on Midco Sports Network.